Hey, brave souls. It is Callie coming at you with another episode. And today we're going to do some deep dive into this pool of possibilities and uncover the secrets to unlocking your true potential. Today we're tackling a question that honestly just might flip your world upside down. What would you do if the concept of failure just simply didn't exist? You are listening to That Big CEO Energy, where we talk all things business, life, marriage, and push you to a new edge of discovering what that big CEO energy means for you. Listen, I understand that we have barriers that we carry from when we were once employees, and those have impacted us as we continue to build our businesses. I'm here to walk alongside you and give you encouragement through interviews with friends and other women in business who have broken down those barriers and paved their own way. Tune in with me as we uncover some of the unconscious things that we do that keep us from building that big CEO energy we've always dreamed about. Let's dive in. I want you to close your eyes and imagine with me for just one moment. I want you to picture every wild dream, every audacious goal, every whisper of potential in your body, all coming to fruition without a single stumble along the way. Can you feel that excitement bubbling up in you? Can you sense the sheer exhilaration of knowing that success is not just a possibility, but an absolute certainty? What is your big dream? What is that far audacious goal that even just the thought of it makes your stomach get these butterflies that just whisper, you can do this? And then I want you to picture you doing it. You doing the thing, whatever it is. If it's skydiving, it is taking a big risk in your business. I want you to picture that you are living in it right now, that you have arrived. What does she look like? Does she have all the freedom in the world? What does she dress like? What are the foods that she is eating? And when you've arrived, who is there with you? Who's celebrating with you? Who is cheering you on? Are you walking down a runway? Are you showing up in spaces where your face lights up the room and you feel whole? You feel like you have arrived in your home, true home inside of you. Can you feel that? Can you sense the sheer exhilaration that you have of knowing that you have arrived? Strip away the money. Strip away society's feel of success in terms of people knowing you. Do you know you? Sit with that for just a minute. Because now we're going to talk about fear. And it's that pesky little voice, right? I say it over and over again. It's that pesky little voice in our heads that loves to just rain on our parade, telling us that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not worthy enough to chase after our dreams. But what if we just flipped the script on it? What if we just took fear and flipped it on its head? And what if we silenced the voice once and for all? And we embrace the idea that failure is nothing more than a figment of our imagination. It is nothing more than just some distance thing that, yes, we can acknowledge that it's there. It's like a boat, right? That we are not on. It's out in the ocean and we can see it. We can see that it's there and we can see the things that are happening on it, but we're not on it. Here's the thing. When you believe in yourself with every fiber of your being, when you approach every opportunity with unwavering confidence and determination, suddenly This fear of failure loses every single ounce of power that it ever had over you, or that you ever thought it had over you. And suddenly you become unstoppable. Now, here's the reality of this situation is we are human and we have a brain that likes to play tricks on us. And so you're probably listening to us going, what in the hell is she even talking about? Because I wake up every day in fear that what if today is the day that my business crumbles? What if today is the day that every client on a whim emails me and says, I'm all done here? Now, the reality of that is that's not going to happen, right? We have to put ourselves in parameters to have honest discussions with ourselves, because that's how fast fear can pick up on our highway and just kind of like take us off into the ditch. It happens that fast. It's the pesky little voice, right, in our head that just tells us, hey, you, yeah, remember when you got like all of that motivation to like start the thing? Remember that? Yeah, no. Nope. Actually, I just decided that after you've done all of this work, you're not good enough to keep going. You're not smart enough to continue to figure it out. And you certainly are not worthy enough to keep chasing after the dream. Why? Because there are other people doing it. There are people that are doing it better than you. They are going to come and find your little community that you have built, and they're going to take it from you. Right? Do you hear that sometimes? So we're going to take all of that fear that has been bottled up inside of you. And sometimes I feel like I sound like a broken record, but I feel like if we don't continually talk about fear, if we don't continually find ways to stuff it down and remove it from every fiber of our being, what happens is when you truly want to approach an opportunity, you can't. Because there's this fear of failure that has this power over you that suddenly you feel like you're just the employee again in your business. You are just, waiting for other people to tell you what you should be doing instead of confidently making decisions. But again, when you believe in every sense of your being that fear is a figment of the imagination, and it's only there to do nothing but terrible things. Yes, for a little while, you have to fight it all the time. I remember that there was a place in time where I just felt like, gosh, dang, is this ever going to alleviate? And sometimes I still feel like that, right? Like, most of you know that, like, God and Jesus are very prevalent in my life. And I have been sharing this story recently, but I started doing Bible in a year, right? Where you read the Bible in a year. That's what you do. But I'm also tapping into more community, surrounding myself around Christian-based women who just love Jesus and love each other, right? And want to create a support community. And most of the women are women that have children that are younger than mine. Particularly one friend of mine, she pretty much has kids the whole entire spectrum, except for she is now out of the baby and toddler phase. Praise God. But, I had my child when I was young. And so sometimes I often feel like I can't show up in communities with other moms that are my age, because they're like on a different wavelength, right? Like I didn't have community for a really long time. I had support in my family, and I literally would not be sitting here talking with you without the support of them. Make no mince words about that. But I didn't have community. And there's a sense of community that when you are a mom, it is craved, it is sorely needed. And so coming back, right? I started to do the Bible in the year and started to really heavily journal every day. I was a heavy journaler. Yes, heavy journaler most throughout my life, but there would be periods of time where like maybe I would journal every other day, or I would journal like, once a week, whatever that is. But I really got into a dedicated mode of I'm going to do my Bible verse every day. I'm going to, so I had put in things that in the morning, that is what I was waking up and doing no matter what. And what I found was, as I started to work on this section of myself and really cling to the relationship that I was building with Jesus and cling to my faith and what that had to say about who I am in Christ, what ended up happening is I started to feel a little bit different about my business. I started to feel like I was doing things wrong. And I was starting to feel like my business was going to crumble underneath of me. And what a silly thought. When I sit here and I reflect back to you that was what I was feeling, I almost feel guilt and shame that I let myself get to a point of thinking that way. But there was a shift. And I can't tell you exactly what it is. It brings tears to my eyes. I don't remember what moment it was, but I woke up one day and I thought, my gosh, here you are, crumbling everything that you have worked your ass off to build by just simply not acknowledging the fact that you're in a season of change. And everybody's in a season of change all of the time. But it's how we react to it, it's how we respond to it, and it's how we let fear determine whether or not that change is good and is gracious and kind to us, or whether that change is going to chase us down, throw us in the mud, and tell us that we are not good enough to keep going. And I don't know about you, but I would rather pick the first one. And so let me ask you this question, because I have this plaque that sits on my desk, and it says, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? I'm going to say that again for you. What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Would you finally take that leap of faith and pursue your passion with everything you've got? Would you kickstart that business idea that's been tugging at your heartstrings for far too long? Or perhaps maybe you'd embark on a journey of self-discovery, exploring these new horizons and really push yourself beyond the comfort zone. Would you do any of these things if failure was not an option, or if failure wasn't something that we have made up to make us think that we are less than? But here's the kicker. Even in this hypothetical scenario where failure is off the table, it doesn't mean that the path to success is going to be a walk in the park. It doesn't mean that when we just say, oh, failure doesn't exist, ha ha ha, that like there's not going to be any challenges, because those will still arise, right? Obstacles will still need to be overcome, but the difference lies in your mindset. It's about embracing this journey and celebrating the highs and learning from the lows and taking a deep breath at every challenge and saying, how can I, keywords, how can I make a difference in me today and still chase after what this success means to me? Right? Cultivating a mindset that sees the challenge, recognizes that the challenge exists, but then also making a plan to overcome the challenge without letting fear getting in there and say, well, just go ahead and move on to something else. It's kind of like when we get to a door and we jiggle the handle and we're like, oh, it's locked. And then we go through all of our keys on the key ring and suddenly realize that you don't have a key to the door. Do you, A, walk away from the door and just go find the door that satisfies whatever keys that will open with the keys that you have? Do you call somebody for help that may have the key to unlock the door? Do you kick down the door? I mean, that's a little aggressive, but one could say that you could do that. Do you have a key made, right? So it might take you a little longer. Have the key made to open the door. Or the one other way that you can open the door is you can recognize that, yes, the door is shut. But it's a combination of all the things that I just mentioned to be able to get the door that is open. Yes, you need help. Yes, you might have to kick it down. And yes, you might have to create a key that opens the door. But none of those things, if you look at any of those, are any of those things parts of failure? Any of them? No, it's part of the obstacle that you have to overcome. So you have to get your brain in a position of thinking a little bit differently, right? I think oftentimes we try and source for the easiest way. And so what we do is when the door is closed and it is locked and we don't have the key to that, we're like, oh, well, we'll just go find a different door. It's totally fine. And the reality is that the lessons that are learned and the challenge that it takes to open the door are the lessons that you then need to be able to move forward to do whatever it is that you're trying to overcome. And so when we can get our mindset positioned to where it feels like we are always learning all of the time and we are becoming a lifelong learner and that is enjoyable, that's where the success lies. So I want to give you a challenge, and the challenge is to take the first step, no matter how small it is. But it is the smallest step towards turning your wildest dreams into reality, because here's the truth. The only true failure is you not trying at all. That's it. That is the only way that you can fail, is by doing absolutely nothing. And so I challenge you to think about that. Think about the fact that if I sit here and I do absolutely nothing, what does that say about me and the success that I desire? Am I doing my absolute number one level up best to get me to the next level without fear playing in the game? Thank you for giving me this platform to be able to share my heart with you. Because every day that you show up and listen to my podcast, and every day that I show up to record, it's me shutting fear down. This isn't a big podcast. It's not a big community that I have built, but I want you to know that you listening right now, you are a part of it, and I thank you for that, truly. And so this self-discovery, time and season that I am in, I want to share my heart with you, because I think that it is worth something that when you are a person that is just chasing a dream and there is failure showing up to your front door, oftentimes it stops you from believing in yourself. And one of the things that I really, really want to share with you is that the smallest but greatest thing that you can ever do for yourself is to just believe. Just believe that you can do it. That is half the battle. And by you believing that you are fully capable, it tells fear to go and find somewhere else to live, because it is not welcome here. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you heard something that helped you, I would love it if you would leave a review and share it with your friends. This helps more people just like you become inspired to move the needle of their big CEO energy into a positive direction. If you would like to learn more about how I can help you streamline and position your business for growth, or lead your business as a CEO, feel free to jump into the show notes with all of the links to find me. And don't forget to head over to Instagram so we can be pals.